Welcome back, everybody, to Sweat and Iron. I'm Graham, your host, and this episode, we're going to go on a road trip. So come on in, step right in. I got plenty of room in this car, plenty of room for everybody listening. Let's come on in. We're on a ride. And now's your time. You know, if you want to get out of the car, now's your chance because we're going to talk about roller derby. So come on, we're going to Montana. So if you've never been to Montana, stick with me. We're going to talk to Kim. Kim is into roller derby. She's on a team. She's in a league. She competes. She has fun. She annihilates people. She plays rough. She plays for keeps. Oh my goodness. It was very eye-opening talking to Kim about roller derby because I had no idea what roller derby was until I talked to her. Well, that's not true. I had an idea, and if you listen to my mini-sodes, I talk about how I picture people just rolling around on roller skates, bashing everybody off the track, and Kim goes into details on anything, everything to roller derby, tries to explain the game as best as possible, and so many details when it comes to roller derby. So, without further ado, enjoy the show. So, Kim, which state do you live in for the listeners?
I am in Montana.
Montana. You know, when I think of Montana, oh wait, you know what? It's actually Wyoming. It's Montana's near Wyoming.
Yes, it's right above it.
So there's this. What's the name of the show? It was on. It was the sheriff.
Oh.
And. It's on Netflix.
Are we thinking of like the Western one? But that was South Dakota.
Nope, I'm thinking Longmire.
You
ever heard? You've never seen it? Never heard of it?
I have. It is sad. I live out here and I don't watch anything that has to do with it.
I think it takes place in Wyoming, but I think there was an episode where he had to cross over into Montana. I'm not sure. Anyways, anytime I think about people who live up there, I always think about the show. But the thing about the show is it started off really cool, and then as the show just went along, it got more and more into how it just got more into how Native Americans are just crazy and they're all about like Longmire is this white sheriff guy and he's just surrounded by all these Native Americans on the reservations, and there's all these murders happening and this and that. It's based upon a series of books, if I recall, but the show is really cool. Anyways, you said Montana, and I think of that. I also think of cowboys. I think of a lot of snow.
There is a ton outside right now, so.
Let's see, what else do I think of? So if you got snow, you got skiing, I'm guessing.
Yeah, there's plenty of that. I am right outside of Big Sky, which is one of the, if not the biggest ski resort, I believe, in North America. It's up there, if it's not the biggest.
Do you guys have isn't Big Sky a brewery in Montana as well?
There is also, we have a lot of breweries here, but that is also. Yeah, we love our beer when we get tired of snow, which is most of the year, then there's beer.
I'm so tired of the snow. Hey, let's go get some beer. Oh, that makes everything better.
It does for a little bit.
Yeah, for a little bit. You know, I don't drink beer as much as I used to, but now I prefer bourbon, whiskey, and scotch. Not all together, but I mean, you know.
That could be quite the mix.
Well, I mean, what was his name? He did one beer, one bourbon. What was that? What was that song? All of his music sounded the same. He did Bad to the Bone and all that. James Thorogood.
Yeah, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that here too, if you needed it. We've got a couple distilleries, so whiskey distilleries in town.
I know where I'm going.
Yeah. Just, wait till maybe the snow will be gone in June. Maybe.
Oh, that'll be fine. Yeah, because then, I'll, towards the end of June, July, maybe August, and then I can start bulking. I won't really care about the excess calories. No, that'd be bad because that'd be a dirty bulk, right?
Uh, have a little fun with it. Just a
Have a
little.
little fun.
Yeah.
So let's get into what we're going to be talking about. Now that we've talked about alcohol and having fun in snow and Native Americans going crazy, let's talk about the what you do outside of what is it that you do outside of work, outside of your family life, outside of whatever. What is your hobby?
All right. I think we are getting to roller derby.
That's right, roller
Yes.
derby. Now, when I think of roller derby, I think of a bunch of women going around a track on roller skates. They got pads, they got helmets, and they're just bashing into each other.
Pretty
Is that really,
much.
is it really that case?
It's pretty much that case. If you're thinking of anything more violent than let's say if you're thinking elbows and punches and body slams and stuff like that, it's not that crazy anymore. I know a lot of
In,
people think back to the 70s and all the crazy stuff they used to watch on TV. It's a little more regulated now, but
oh, so there
yeah,
there
we
used to
still
be some dirty action going on.
there used to be, just imagine wrestling on skates. That's what it
Oh,
used to. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what got you interested in this sport?
I'm trying to remember where it came in. I know I grew up skating, more like rollerblades. And then I remember finding out about roller derby when I was still down in South Carolina, but I didn't have time at that part of my life to do it. And then after I graduated college, I moved up here to Montana. And at that time, I didn't know anyone here really. My job was mostly out of my apartment and on the road. So I was really desperate to find a way to meet people. And it just happened to be that there was a team where I was living at the time. And so I decided to go for it that way, just really to meet people and to get out of the house.
But you had been skating for a while before this, you said. So what point in your life did you start skating? Because if there's one thing I could say I can't do, I can't skate.
Oh, I've been skating probably since I was at least 5. I'm
Um,
gonna say we had a skating rink. I grew up in a little town in Missouri. I'm talking 3,000 to 4,000 people, but
oh,
we
you're
did have
from
a,
Missouri, huh?
yeah, I'm from Missouri, and all we had really was that skating rink. I'm gonna say to do at night. So did that mostly rollerblade, which doesn't really translate over to roller derby all that well. But that was a big part of my childhood.
Why does rollerblading not translate?
It's just different motion. It's hard to describe unless you're used to skates. But quad skates are the ones with the 4 wheels side by side, and it's a lot different motion and balance than when it comes to rollerblades. And imagine it was really easy for me from rollerblades to transition into like ice skates, hockey
Hmm.
skates. You get that blade type structure.
Hmm.
And so they're pretty similar, but something about rollerblades, I know I tried them when I was a kid. That's what all of my friends started on, and I hated roller skates with a passion. I think I lasted on them a couple nights before I went over to rollerblades, and I never went back until it came to roller derby, and then I had to go back.
Funny story. I need to share this story. Connie, I think, has heard this story, but if she hasn't, she's going to hear it now because she'll listen to this episode and she'll be like, "Oh my God, that happened." I went on it was like a blind date. I was set up by a couple of guys I knew. They brought their girlfriends and they set me up with this girl. And we went to, what did we do? We got food first. And then after the food, we went to this roller skating park. And we go out on the floor, and I'm just like, I didn't know how to skate very well, but I didn't tell anybody. So I just put on the skates and just crossed my fingers. And I got out there, and I thought I was doing pretty well. And my blind date was
next to me, and I lost my balance, and I fell into her, and then she fell into somebody else, and then it turned into this domino effect. And the DJ, they had a DJ. He goes, "Somebody get that guy off! Somebody get that guy out of there!" Oh, it was so embarrassing. And then I remember I had to go use the bathroom, and I didn't take the skates off, and I was just like, that was interesting.
Yeah, no, that's actually always the interesting part when you're still on skates at a rink, I think, is the bathroom. Oh, man.
Yeah,
No,
because then
last time
you're just like, you don't want to roll away while you're doing your thing. And I mean, for women at least, you can sit down. For guys,
well,
it's
yeah,
like,
but imagine sitting down on those skates on a tile floor.
oh, and then trying to get back up.
Height difference. Yeah, it can throw some people off. I've seen some people almost eat it in the bathroom.
So you got interested in the sport. There was a team out there that you found. You signed up, and did you have to do some sort of tryout or anything?
So at that time with that team, there was no formal training or anything like that. So when I showed up, and the girls had their normal practice going on, and they were trying to kind of give me tasks on the side to teach me what I was supposed to be doing. And then the rest of the time I was kind of watching them. But it was kind of a rough start since I had no structure to it whatsoever. So I was with them for almost about a year where I was just learning what the heck I was doing since there was no program. It was really slapdash and just kind of thrown together.
Learn by doing.
Yeah, which is kind of harsh when it comes to roller derby. So after that year, I was getting ready to finally try to test out, and I'll be honest, like a year for what they call as fresh meat when you're still learning seems to be a pretty long period. So it took me a while to really feel confident.
Do they say fresh meat because you're the easiest target to take down, get out of the way?
Probably. I'm not really sure where that term comes from, but it's used pretty much everywhere.
Mm.
So after a year, I was trying to test and everything, and then on a side incident with the team, but not on skates, I managed to break myself, both my arm and my wrist, doing some bad dance moves. So that delayed the skating a bit, and so once I healed up from that disaster, came back. I had moved to a new town. They did have a training program, so I went through it, just to make sure I had all my basics covered at that time, and then finally passed that. So I started actually, I'm going to say, skating with a team. By then it was, I believe, what year was that? 2014, the spring, 2014. So it took me a while to get there, but it was definitely interesting in the beginning.
Wow, so you've been actually doing roller derby hardcore then you took about a year to learn, took about 6 to 8 months off because of the broken bones, and then now you got 4+ years under your belt, almost 5.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I can't keep count anymore. It's a lot of seasons. So
yeah, that happens. The older we get, it's just like, wait, what?
it just blends together.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I know a guy who does a bunch of photography for roller derby
Nice.
Down in Indiana. So I didn't know much about the sport, but some of the photographs he takes, it just looks so badass. Hardcore. And that's why I was just like, wow, you guys must really, the helmet and the pads are really more for your own protection, not so much to bash into other people. It's for falling and maybe accidentally bumping into the wall or somebody else, right?
Oh yeah, that you definitely want it for the falls. And I'm gonna say, without the pads, I don't know how anyone could do this, especially how we have it structured now. I mean, we're playing on concrete floors. The last thing you want to do is take a spill into that, or into the crowd, or or a wall.
So let's go
without-
down to what roller derby is. For a guy like me, all I know is that you guys are racing around a track. But
Mhm,
what is the overall goal? You're going to have, because you have multiple people out there. So
we do.
do you tag somebody and they come in, or is it a team? How does the team win?
Okay, so team's gonna win with the most points. Pretty straightforward there. The team overall, you're gonna have 5 people per each team on the track at a time. So you are going to have 4 what they call blockers for each team, and then you are going to have a jammer for each team. And the jammer is going to be the one in the photos. Usually it's the one in the photos because everyone loves the jammer because they're the ones scoring the points, and they're going to be the one that has a star cover on their helmet, and so that's how you identify them. And from there, it's really awful to try to explain this without diagrams, honestly. But at the beginning, let's see. So a bout itself is split up into 2-minute segments, which are called jams.
Mhm.
And it's in those jams that you're going to have your 4 people out for the blockers, and you're going to have 2 jammers out there. And the goal for the jammer when that jam actually starts is to get through all of the blockers, which is called the pack. They need to get all the way through, make their lap around the track, come back, and then get through the pack again. At that point, they start scoring points for every person on the other team that they pass. So if you pass everyone else on the other team, you're going to get 4 points for every time you get through. So then the blockers are both trying to stop the other team's jammer while they are also trying to help their jammer get through faster. So you're having to play offense and defense pretty much at the same time.
Oh, wow. So all this is going on while both teams are trying to, it's not one side has a chance to do it while the other one blocks. It's all going on at the same time. So it could be like complete madness.
It usually is madness. It's taken me years to try to figure out what the heck I'm doing out on that track in the middle of a game.
So you guys aren't trying to, you guys are making a lap. You guys make a lap. But then you said they got to go back. So like, do you go around the track completely one full lap and then try to get through the blockers on the next lap, or?
Yep, you have to get through them from the very beginning.
Yep.
And then you do not start getting points until basically the second time through the pack again. So you gotta fight for all of those points every time. And the pack itself is moving. They're going around the track too. And some teams are really slow and the game will be slow. And so it's not that hard for the jammer to get around that track pretty fast.
Sure.
But some games will start speeding up and the pack itself starts going fairly fast around the track. They have to stay together. They have what's called an engagement zone. They can't spread too far out from one another or else they're going to get a penalty. Yeah, but the jammer's got to keep up with that, So if that pack is speeding up pretty fast, it can be quite hard for the jammer just to catch them to even try to fight through the pack to begin with.
Wow, this sounds, I mean, it's not that it sounds hard as a concept. It just sounds, it sounds like something that would be very difficult for me to do since I don't know how to skate.
Yeah.
Wow. So all this is going on. That's madness. So, okay. In my mind, what I'm thinking of is you got to have some really good endurance for this, right? And
Endurance definitely helps. Yeah.
endurance, strong leg muscles, and I would assume you do some good core workouts too.
Yes, the core is really going to help you. We have a thing that's called derby stance that you kind of want to be in. Everyone's got a slightly different version of it. But derby stance is going to be almost like think of like a half squat stance. You're going to have some bend in your knees. And then you want to be kind of upright. You don't want to be bending too far forward because you're going to tip over if anyone hits you. So you got to keep your torso upright. and facing forward, but you're going to keep enough bend in your knees that you can respond and move around quickly on those skates. And if someone hits you, you can kind of absorb the impact from that hit and not just fall over. And when you just look at the stance by itself, when you're first starting, you're like, oh yeah, that's no problem. But it quickly becomes, I want to say, like the number one complaint of any new person to roller derby is how sore staying in that stance makes them, especially when you add in skating, which is using leg muscles that your body isn't used to. Because unless you, I'm going to say either rollerblade, play hockey, or maybe ski, if you skate ski, if you don't
You're
do
not going
those,
to engage those?
yeah, you don't really engage those muscles in the same manner any other way. So it's pretty taxing, especially when you first start out.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I could see maybe just standing there in that stance would be fine. Maybe starting to skate would be okay, just a little bit. But having to keep up with everybody, having to, because you're constantly having to keep your eye on your person, but also you have to keep your eye on their person at the same time.
And you better know what your teammates are doing, because it's not random. We practice a lot of drills, a lot of plays, a lot of offensive plays, and how we get together. So there's a lot to keep in your mind as you're doing all these things.
What's the do you have any crazy stories, like any weird, maybe not weird, but do you have any crazy stories to share that you've seen, things you've seen, people have done?
Gosh. Oh, I don't even know, because it's so weird, because I've been doing it for so long now that I've seen so many things. It's like, what's crazy to me,
Well, like, has
what's
anybody
normal?
done like
Like,
gone flying in the air, or has anybody?
oh no, you'll see people go flying. So you got to think of a track. The track itself is kind of like an oval shape. So as you guys as the skaters are picking up speed, they've got that force on them as they're going around the corners, which we call the apex. And we kind of, blockers, I'm a blocker for the most part, we love hitting jammers on that corner. For whatever reason, it's just a great place to land a hit. But just because of the speed and physics going into it, if you land a hit really well right there, it has the tendency to send that jammer flying. And at a lot of places, you have the audience pretty close to the track, and we try to warn them that you might get skated into. We try to get, at least my team tries to give enough room that hopefully that doesn't happen. You might have a close call. But I have seen people make it all the way into the crowd. Yeah. So should you ever go to a roller derby bout and you see an area that says 18 and over only, or gives you some warning, there is purpose there. We might actually fall into you.
If you're going to be in the crowd, stay away from those sharp turns in the oval where, on those. So it's the ends of the ovals, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So on the straight paths, you're fine, because if they get knocked into, they're probably going to be able to stop. But on those turns, it's going to be like, whoa.
Yeah, you're going to have some spill out going on right there.
What's the craziest injury you've seen?
Oh, God. I feel so bad, because unfortunately that tends to be the ones that I've seen have dealt with a certain player on my team. Who knows if she'll ever hear this. I know she doesn't like her injuries like aired out there. But I know we were out there, we were skating. It was me and her and a couple others were out there at a jam. And I still don't even know exactly what happened at that moment, but she fell and she snapped that ankle. I'm pretty sure it was either the ankle or the leg right above the ankle, pretty badly. So and this is a public game, which is always a whole other spectacle, because then you've got people there oohing and eyeing at you and wanting to see what happened. And we always have paramedics at our games just in case. So then they have to come out and stabilize you and then get you off. And she had to go off in the ambulance at that time. And that was pretty bad. And I've seen some similar injuries to that we had one with a fresh meat girl, brand new, and she did, I think, almost the same thing. And with that injury, I remember there was only a couple of us there, and we were trying to keep her calm, trying not to let her see what her leg actually looked like at the time. But I mean, her foot was just kind of hanging there. I don't know like how to describe it. Like you
No,
knew,
that's fine. I
you knew
mean,
that things were not lining up the way they were supposed to, but you're also trying to distract her so she doesn't see it.
were these injuries because of collisions or?
Yeah, so the one during the game, it had something to do with some sort of hit and then the fall. And unfortunately, sometimes you just fall weird. You're going to land weird. I mean, you could do it. Like I said, I injured myself dancing because I landed weird doing dumb stuff. And the same thing goes with skates. You're going to land weird. And I think that was the same for the fresh meat girl. I think she was learning how to jump or spin or something like that and landed weird.
Have you ever known anybody who's gotten a concussion because of the sport?
I think if you're in the sport long enough, you probably have had one.
I mean, I'm going to assume that you got one. I mean, you're going to hit your head at some point, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say definitely if you've been in the sport long enough, you've probably had a concussion, whether it be mild or, something more serious. And I mean, we wear the helmet all the time, but unfortunately with some of those forces, it's not enough. I know I had one, and it had nothing to do with what you would think like a direct impact to like the head, at least where I would assume like a concussion would occur. I actually had someone that I was playing with actually like pop up under me, and their helmet made impact with my jaw, and something about that force kind of like knocked me back a bit. And it was such a weird experience because I remember I was like, that hurt, but I wasn't thinking much of it. And I was skating around, and I was looking at this other girl that was at practice skating, and I didn't recognize her. I was like, who is this stranger? Like, why is she here? Like, I don't understand. Like, where did she just come from? And then I got closer to her, and I realized that this was one of my teammates that I had been skating with for at least 2 or 3 years at that point. And that's when I was like, I should probably sit down. Like, I'm no longer recognizing my teammates.
Did you get looked at?
Not that time. I probably should have. We've become better and better over the years with our concussion protocol.
Especially now, with all the sports being all about it now.
Yeah. It's really evolved quite a bit since I first started. And that was pretty early on when I was still, I want to say, in the first year or two of skating.
That's crazy, though, isn't it? To think that, well, you're how old now?
I am 30.
You're 30. Okay. 31. Well, you're in the same age group as me. I'm 34. I'll be 35 this year. But we grew up. Everybody, you fall, you hit your head. Everybody just said, "Get up, go back to what you're doing. You'll be okay." You're okay. You're not. As long as you weren't bleeding or nothing else, everything was okay. And now they're showing that all this head injury, just over time, it leads to all this bad stuff. It's amazing that how far science has come to show us all this. But I mean, I would definitely say that I would find your sport, not that it's a big deterrence, but I mean, it seems like it's a high risk sport, but you could say that for just about a lot of sports.
Pretty much,
but it also sounds like your sport would definitely be the kind of sport for an adrenaline junkie. I mean, if you want that rush, it sounds like you get a good rush out of it.
I would say so, yeah. If you've got that, and I would even say, I think I hate to say it because so Derby isn't super well known still in the country, and so I think it's overlooked a lot. I'm gonna say if you have a competitive streak and you are looking for something to do, maybe you used to do soccer or I'm even going to say football because there is men's derby, and I know there's also female football players. So I'm going to say if you did that, if you did rugby, if you miss that competition and that competitiveness, that derby is definitely something to look at. I know some people kind of think of it as, like a silly fun time, and there's definitely teams out there that they only get together to have fun. But there's also some extremely competitive teams out there. I'm on a pretty competitive team, especially for where we are in the country. We have to travel a lot to get to some pretty tough teams to play. But there's a good wide range out there. So if you're competitive, if you're looking for something to do, Derby definitely has that. If all you want to do is go have fun, you used to like to skate, you could probably find a team that's pretty laid back and just wants to, meet people and have a good time.
So you've done a lot of traveling. What states have you been to for roller derby then?
Oh geez. Let's see. I have been to North Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, Oregon, Utah.
Okay.
I
How about
did some derby in Vegas.
how about the coolest place you've been so far? Or maybe top 3. Give me top 3.
Top 3. Okay. I'm going to say the top experience I've had, I wasn't actually skating, but I was there to watch derby at a very high level, which would have been this past, when was that? November. I was down in New Orleans to watch the World Championships for derby. So I got to go down there. That was an entire weekend. And you're getting teams from all over the world. One of the top teams is from Australia, so you have them there. Denver, Portland, New York City was there, St. Louis. So all those big cities have some pretty tough teams. And then, like I said, you had teams from other countries. I think Sweden. I'm really bad with some of the international teams, so I'm going to probably butcher that and stay away from it. But
that's all good. It sounds like it would have been really awesome to look at.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. Oh, geez. And then I've played fun pickup games in Vegas. They have a big convention every year just for derby. And so, again, you get people from all over the world, and they just have fun, ridiculous games there.
So usually you just show up and do them?
Yeah. Just play with people you've never played with at varying levels. And a lot of them are pretty fun and pretty ridiculous. Because at that point, we're just doing it for fun, so why not? So you'll have like, oh my gosh, what are some of them? I know one of them had something to do with Chippendales, and you got like a drag show one, and some other ridiculous ones. Like costumes are highly encouraged at that point because none of us have any reason to care.
So there's some ridiculous costumes and some pretty cool ones, but then some ridiculous ones.
Yeah, if you want to see guys in Speedos playing derby, then that's definitely the place to be, I guess.
Oh, so this isn't just a woman's sport. Guys do this too, huh?
Yes, guys derby, men's derby, I'm going to say is a bit smaller at this point, but it's definitely a growing sport out there. Most major cities, I'm going to say, will probably have a team for it. And then some of the smaller teams will do co-ed derby, which is something I would really love to get into. But unfortunately, where I am, we don't have enough people to put that together.
So what would your third place be?
Third place. I kind of always love going down to Jackson Hole to play. That's just a really fun spot in the summer to go.
It's fun because why? It's just a great environment.
Yeah. I don't know who knows Jackson Hole, who doesn't. It's the fancy ski resort. Of course, we're not going there during ski season. It's during summertime. But it's a really gorgeous drive. You can go through Yellowstone if you want, because basically between us and Jackson Hole is Yellowstone and Teton. So if you want to add that into your loop, go ahead.
Mhm.
The gorgeous time. The girls are always nice down there. They're pretty close to us as far as any other team goes. So that's just a nice time. But I'm hoping soon I'll get some more chances to travel. I would love to do some international stuff. I know my team keeps talking about it, throwing out ideas like, let's go to Europe, maybe we'll go to Spain or, somewhere up there.
Mhm.
That would be great. It takes so much time and money to get everyone on the same page to get out there. So
I was going to say, I saw dollar signs as soon as you said, let's go to Spain. Let's go here.
Oh, yeah, Derby, unfortunately, is extremely expensive just to begin with. My skates alone at this point are probably $800 to $900. You add in pads. Knee pads are usually going to be about $100 a piece. Helmets are the same.
You can't get just any kind of gear. You got to get special kind of gear. I'm just going to go out there and guess that's got to be special skates, right? It's gonna be
Yeah.
heavy duty.
Yeah, when you first start, you can start off pretty cheap, especially if you don't know if this is going to be something that you're going to enjoy. But if you end up sticking with it for a while, you're going to want, higher quality gear and stuff that fits you right, and stuff that actually just is meant for the sport and not just skating around a rink.
But then it becomes, it's kind of like if you really love it and you want to keep going into it, then you might as well invest in it. If it's something that you really love doing and you don't want to get injured over time, I think one of the things that will help you not get injured over time is having the right equipment. So
Yeah.
it'd be worth spending that extra dough.
Yeah, get the $100 knee pads. Don't go to Walmart and find the $10 ones that are meant for kids, So,
So you could definitely tell the newbies when they show up with that.
yeah. Yeah, you're like, that's gonna hurt. As soon as we teach them how to fall from the get-go, and you just see those sad little knee pads, and you're like, you're gonna go home sore.
Those and that they're either gonna break off or they leave like huge marks on your legs and your arms. I'm betting they're probably not the comfiest.
No, you don't have like any cushion in those, so you're gonna feel everything.
Wow, so I just learned a whole lot about roller derby. This was really a lot of information that I just absorbed here. I hardly knew anything about the sport, and now I feel like I want to watch it.
Exactly. Now you gotta go see it, and now you have to figure out the strategy on the skates and all the other rules, which there's plenty of.
Yeah. Well, Kim, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me about this. I really appreciate it.
No problem. It's been good to talk about it.
So just do you want to give your team name in case anybody wants to check it out if anybody happens to be listening in the Montana area?
Yes, I am with Gallatin Roller Derby. We are in Bozeman, Montana, and I'll also throw a rep out there. A lot of my teammates are on Team Montana, and they have been doing fantastic this year. They went to a beautiful playoff a couple weeks ago on the East Coast, and they did fantastic. They came in as a underdog, and they did amazing out there, and really did us all proud.
Awesome. Well, Kim, stick around for just a minute here. I got a couple questions for you after I get done recording. But for the rest of you guys out there, you keep setting your goals and you keep at it.